brother. Did I disturb you? Well, it's good to hear that I'm not. Can I come in? I see that you're still up. Are you having a hard time falling asleep again? I was just worried about you. You know, when we were kids, you used to be really afraid of thunderstorms and heavy rains. So I was wondering if you're having a good night's sleep at the moment. But it seems like I was wrong. It's been quite a long time as well since we had this kind of talk. It's been years since the last time. It's been a while since I finished high school and I needed to go to the city to attend college in the university that we both want to, of course. And yeah, I really did miss you and the times that we've spent together. I didn't really have much friends there. I kept thinking about you. Well, how is my little brother doing at the moment? He used to be a little, tiny, little, scaredy brother. Just kidding. Can I sit next to you? I see that your bed has gotten smaller now. Or should I say, you're the one who's gotten bigger. I doubt it's gonna be comfortable for both of us to sleep in the same bed anymore, like we used to before. Of course, you're not a little boy anymore, but to me, you still are. And I'm always gonna be your big sister. And I'm always gonna be here for you. Well, I mean by always gonna be here is when you need something. You know? Like you can always ask me for help or anything. Or if you just want someone to talk to, I'm always gonna be here for you, of course. Even if I'm not always around. Don't be sad, little brother. It can't really be a help. I need to go to the university as well. I still need to finish school. And of course, you need to as well. And in a few years, you're going to the same university with me as well. Of course you will. You know what, little brother? I was kinda lonely. Well, I mean, in the place where I stay, in the uni. Well, not because I have no friends or anything. It's just that I'm alone in one place. Like when I go home and then there's no mom, there's no dad, and There's no little brother. All I have to do there is just study and study, meet with friends. It's not it's not like I can meet with my friends all the time as well because we have different schedules. So I really miss home. I guess you need to sleep now, little brother. It's really late. I wish I can still tuck you into bed like I used to before. But just like what you said, you're not a little boy anymore. So I don't think you need it. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead now. Good night, little brother. Sweet dreams. What? You want me to stay? Did I hear that right, little brother? You really want me to? Okay. But isn't it gonna be uncomfortable in your bed? I don't think the bed is that big for both of us, you know? Well, I'm not gonna sleep here. I'll just stay till we fall asleep, okay? Oh, I just remembered something. Since you're having a hard time falling asleep, do you want me to read you some bedtime stories like I used to before? Oh, come on, silly. I know you want it. Now, don't worry, it's not gonna be like the other. It's not gonna be like the stories that I used to tell you before. Not the, like the castles and dragons and dungeons and all the fantasy stuff. It's not gonna be like that anymore. Oh, actually, I recently read a story that's really interesting, and I wonder if I can tell you that story. Would you let me? But since you're a grown-up person now, since you said so, it's gonna be a little spooky story. Is that alright? Don't worry, it's not scary. There's nothing like that. It's just a little thriller, something, Okay. So, make yourself comfortable now. Pull that blanket up. Yeah, like that. My little brother is not really a kid now. Time really flies so fast. Anyway, here's the story. Are you ready? Okay, here I go. My aunt, the witch. About 3 summers ago, my husband and I got an invite from his Aunt Vicky to spend a week at her house in Florida. She lived a few miles from a beach in a tourist town, so we decided to go. My husband had always told me his aunt was a little weird, but she was his favorite aunt. I had only met her one time, and that was at our wedding, but she seemed cool enough. We left our house on a Friday afternoon and found her place at around 11 that night. She was waiting up for us and had laid out meat and cheeses so that we could make a sandwich. While we ate, we sat around talking, and Vicky and my husband Tim reminisced. Vicky was only a few years older than Tim, but she remembered quite a bit from their childhood. As they talked, I half listened to the conversation and occupied myself with knickknacks and pictures in her living room. There were pictures of her son, Gary, a family portrait of all my husband's family, and even some of her husband who had been killed in a car accident. I came to a shelf in the corner of the room that held trophies and more dust collecting crap. Towards the back of the shelf, there was a large gargoyle statue. It was creepy, with its beady eyes and mouth that twisted into a sickening smile. I wondered why she would have such a disgusting thing, but who am I to judge, I thought. Finally, it was time for bed. It was decided that Tim and I would sleep on the couch since it was a sectional and had plenty of room. And of course, Vicky would sleep in her room. Her room was right off the living room where we would be sleeping. And if the door was open, you could see right inside. As we got ready for bed, I couldn't help but feel an uneasy feeling. I just attributed it to being in a new house with someone I barely knew. I laid down and turned off the lamp next to me and closed my eyes. I finally fell into a fitful sleep and kept waking up all night. Around 10 the next morning, we all got up and headed to the beach. We spent a relaxing day in the sand and water, and due to my half-assed sleeping the night before, I ended up falling asleep on my beach towel. When I woke up, I was thankful that I had left my shirt on over my bathing suit, because my legs were bright red from the sun. Being from Florida originally, I knew it was better to have sunburned legs than a sunburned back and shoulders. That evening, we had a quiet dinner and talked some more. I was really starting to like Vicky. She didn't seem weird to me at all. But people might consider me weird, so once again, who am I to judge? The sun had taken a lot out of us, so we turned in for sleep early. Tim and I on the couch, and Vicky in her room. Tim and I talked about the day for a few more minutes, and then, when we couldn't hold our eyes open anymore, fell asleep. We had fallen asleep with the TV on, so when I woke up a few hours later in complete darkness, I freaked out a little and tried to get my bearings. I remembered where I was and reached over the couch for Tim and put my hand on his shoulder. It was comforting knowing he was there. My eyes scanned the room. What the hell is that? I wondered. I watched it for a few more seconds and decided that it must be some battery-powered thing and started to roll over on my side facing the back of the couch. I sat up to fix my pillow and could see into the kitchen from where I was. The light above the stove was on. The refrigerator door was standing open. Strange, but this was an older house with older appliances, so maybe it just doesn't stick like it should. I got up and closed the door to the refrigerator and laid back down. I was getting comfortable again when I noticed someone standing behind the section of the couch my husband was sleeping on. I stared for a moment and realized that it was Vicky. What was she doing? Watching him sleep? I quickly woke Tim and pointed to his aunt. He told me that she sometimes does this and not to worry about it. He got up and led her back to her bedroom. He came back a minute later and laid back down. What the hell was that about? I asked in a loud whisper. She just does that sometimes. It's nothing to worry about, he assured me. Does she sleepwalk? No, it isn't sleepwalking. It's fine. Just go back to sleep. I was sufficiently freaked out and I knew I was going to have a hard time falling asleep. I noticed the green lights were gone now and decided it must be on some kind of timer or something. I was just talking to myself into going back to sleep when I saw her again. This time she was standing at her bedroom door facing the living room and looking right at the couch where we slept. I stopped breathing and was as still as possible. She walked slowly out of the room and made her way to the shelf where the gargoyle was. She picked it up and started petting it. Yes, petting it like it was a kitten. She talked softly to it. I couldn't make out what she was saying. I wanted to wake Tim up again, but I was afraid to move. I watched her put the gargoyle back on the shelf and once again look in our direction. She started to walk towards the couch and changed her mind. She switched directions and made her way to the kitchen. I couldn't see over the back of the couch, so I wasn't exactly sure where she was at this point, and I didn't know if she could see me if I moved. I turned my head slowly to try and wake up Tim by calling his name. That was when I saw her at her bedroom door again. She was just standing at the entrance to her bedroom door staring at us. This isn't right at all, I thought. I just saw her go into the kitchen. She would have to pass right by me to go back to her room. Sure, it was dark, but I had been awake long enough that my eyes had adjusted and I knew that I would have seen her walk by. I stared back at her. Her head fell down so that she was looking at her feet and I could hear her chanting to herself. This was getting too weird for me. I was still afraid to move but somehow forced myself to shake them awake. Is this just something she does? I whispered sarcastically. He watched her for a few minutes and sat up. He reached over and turned the lamp on and called her name. She didn't move. Her head was still down and her long dark hair had fallen over her already obscured face. He called her name a few more times and she just turned and walked back into her room. I watched her the entire time. I saw her lay down on her bed and I saw and heard the bedroom door when it slammed on its own. I was beyond terrified and I told Tim to get our stuff because we are going to a hotel. We can't just leave right now, he said. Why not? I asked as I pulled shorts on over my burned legs. Well, if we're not here in the morning, she'll wonder where we went. I looked at him. He had 3 heads. Are you kidding me? I half whispered, half shouted. That is the least of my worries right now. In the end, he talked me into staying the rest of the night. I don't know why I did, but I did. I didn't sleep the rest of the night, just turned the television back on and watched it while waiting for the resident creeper to make another appearance. She never did, thankfully. I was thankful when the sun started to light the sky. I got up and poked around in the kitchen and found coffee making supplies. I had already drunk an entire pot when I saw Vicky's door open and she came out dressed for the beach. Morning, she said. You're up pretty early. I didn't quite know what to say. She was acting like the last night never happened. I was... do you want some coffee? I stuttered at her. That sounds great. I was thinking we could have some breakfast at a little diner I go to all the time. Then maybe do some shopping and sightseeing. Then hit the beach in the afternoon. How does that sound? I couldn't believe this. Either she had no memory of last night or she was waiting for me to bring it up, so I did. So what was last night about? What about last night? She asked with a smile as she poured her coffee. Last night, with the staring and the standing in doorways and I trailed off. I realized she had no clue what I was talking about. Did Tim do something weird in his sleep last night? She asked laughingly. Never mind, I said. I must have been dreaming. I knew very well I hadn't been dreaming. Tim finally got up and came into the kitchen and we had coffee together and told him about the plan for the day. Never once did he mention the previous night to her. That afternoon at the beach, I told him that I was going to a hotel. If he wanted to come, he was more than welcome to, but I was not spending one more night in that house. Look, there's a lot you don't know. This just happens in our family. She isn't the only one. It's my parents and my brother David too, he said. All of this like he was reading a grocery list. Like it just wasn't a big deal at all. I was stunned. What is it exactly? It's just better if I keep quiet about it. If I tell you, they will know and they won't like it. They who? I asked, completely disturbed now. Just let it go, he said. So I did. I let it go. I spent the rest of my vacation sleeping at a hotel and trying not to think about who they were. He spent time with Tim's aunt, but when it was time for bed, we came back to our hotel. That was the first and last time I ever spent the night with any of his family. He still won't tell me anything else about it other than they can take control of a person anytime after dark, and they don't like to be talked about. Tim just went into the bathroom to get ready for bed, and then came out of the kitchen, which is on the other side of the house. He won't talk to me. He just keeps staring.